Okay, well, we've gone ahead and introduced some background to help us prepare for what we think of as the more formal process of learning a second culture and language. And so even as we discussed earlier in tutorials in Module 4, there are many different kinds of language learning programs and courses that have been created, but because we have specific goals in mind for the outcome of our learning, we need a specific program that's suited to meet those goals. And so we designed the Becoming Equipped to Communicate resource that I trust you have a copy of, that you've downloaded, with those specific long-term goals in mind that are important to us. That this is a program that is very relationship-centered, and in the process of our building relationships that can lead you as a learner to a high level of proficiency in the culture and language. And at the same time, concurrently developing those friendships, those relationships that are both an integral part of your learning process and an integral part of where you're headed as a cross-cultural worker. And so in this next group of tutorials, we're going to regularly use the BEC guide as a reference. And so there, as I mentioned, you should have downloaded it. If not, it's available on the Access Truth website, and there will be specific points along the way where reading will be a part of the tutorials. And so we'll give you opportunity or suggest that you pause a tutorial and do the reading as a part of working your way through, because the BEC will be a really significant tool to provide exercises and activities for you to follow day by day over the coming weeks and months. Now, the first stage, if we think of the BEC divided into phases or stages, is getting started. And so we've talked about pre-field getting started, and here in the BEC in the preface, which so if you're reading along, and you should be, that would be pages 9 to 12 that you would read even now prior to continuing with the tutorial. But as you read those preface pages, I trust that you have noticed a description of 5 really key underlying principles that are going to shape how this program works. Those principles of a relationship-centeredness and a resource or a learning process that's culturally derived, that's based on the local cultural setting, that involves experience, that's oriented towards you personally experiencing this cultural and social situations there, experiencing language in real time, and then you learning to comprehend well based on comprehension, this material is, and focused ultimately on communication, effective communication, and measured in terms of the proficiency, the ways that you can actually function in language, what you can do with the language. Those principles have been generally accepted, even in other language learning programs, as some of the most effective ways not only for us to learn but to the language itself, but also to understand that cultural setting sufficiently well and to become effective communicators. And so if you haven't read those pages, I trust you'll do that. And look then again at that list of principles to describe in your own words. Try to describe what each of those principles is pointing toward, what each one means. You don't necessarily need to write anything down, but think through those principles, because they'll become and will be important foundations for you as you move through the BEC and through the tutorials that are related to it.